If you want to win more matches, you've got to hold serve. And if you want to hold serve, you've got to generate missed returns. And one of the most fun ways to generate a missed return is by adding speed to your first serve. So today I'm going to give you 3 tips that worked for me, that added speed to my serve and helped me get to the US Open when I was 17 years old. So let's get started. So the first concept we're going to talk about is pronation. And I know you guys have all heard this before. I just want to make sure I fully explain why it's a benefit, why it's going to add speed to your serve, and what the downside of not pronating is. So when I was 16 or 17, my straight up serve was just going straight pancake and hitting fast. And it was all muscle, athleticism, and timing. And I could actually hit the serve really fast, and so can you. It's just not efficient, and it won't allow you to maximize your speed. So part of the problems with having a palm up or having your strings facing the sky is that, number one, when you put your palm up, you have tension in your shoulder. The more tension, the slower you swing and the slower you'll hit. So number one, we have tension, but number two, the range of motion, if you look at the tip of my racket, our range of motion is not very far. When we've got our palm down and you look at the tip, you can see how it's rotating around like a lasso, and I have a lot longer range of motion to build up acceleration and hit that ball faster. So we definitely know we want to be pronating. We've got our continental grip, and one of my favorite drills that I do is I stick a ball in the throat of my racket. I have the tip of my racket facing sideways, and I just try to see if I can make the swing and keep my palm down as long as possible, and then I can go ahead and pronate on the practice swing. So I do it again. I go as slow as I can. My palm is down, and then I make my swing. I've seen a lot of great instructors online. Ryan Reddy from 2 Minute Tennis talks about knocking the birthday hat off of your head. And so if you're watching this motion right now, you can see that when I'm keeping this on my strings, I would be knocking that hat off of my head, and then I can go and make my swing. And so this is helping me keep my palm down, which will allow me to pronate later in the motion. Once you've done a bunch of those practice and you make that feel normal, you can actually still hit a serve. And this is something I still struggle with, but we can actually toss the ball and go ahead and hit it. So let me get one more ball here. I'm trying to keep that ball on the throat of the racket as long as possible, and then I'm going to toss and hit. And that allows me to get maximum speed. You can see I'm not even using my legs. Those actually are the first 2 serves I've hit of the day. They're probably close to 100 miles an hour, but that's all because I've got my palm down. I'm using the full range of motion and then snapping through. A second drill that I really like to do, and honestly, you could do this on the couch when you're watching TV at home, and it's just making the pronation feel more normal, is you put your left hand up into the right, you pretend like you're going to karate chop your hand, and right before you get it, you pronate your hand and you try to clap as loud as possible. So this is getting my arm used to that pronating feeling. The next progression would be finishing with your hand facing that way. Now, I know this isn't actually a serve, but you're just training your brain to make that motion feel normal. And like I said, I could watch an NFL football game. I'm sitting on the couch. I might get 10 reps in. I don't work on my serve anymore. I don't play tennis anymore, but I've always had a palm up. And by doing these 2 drills over the last 3 years, my palm down has gotten significantly better even without practicing. The second concept that will help you hit faster serves is understanding the kinetic chain and how everything's supposed to work together. So one of the biggest reasons for a lack of power is people are dropping their left arm early and their racket is dropping behind their head before they push up with their legs, okay? And so the actual timing that we want is when we load with our legs, our left arm is up, we've got our palm down, and when I start my motion up with my legs, that is when my racket can drop, and that is when my left arm can drop. So if we drop our left arm early, we're gonna be pulling down. And instinctively, if you think about it, if I'm pulling down, I'm not really gonna snap, I'm gonna end up pushing the ball, right? So that is a major issue. Not only am I going down, which is bad for my serve, but I'm not gonna wanna snap. If my racket, which I see a lot, starts dropping way too early, now I have no force to go up with. I wanna create that lasso, that whip right here. And so the timing again is when I decide to push up, that is when my arm and my racket can drop. So recently at the US Open, I got a great video of Jakub Mensik, and he does this so well. You can see when he goes up to toss and he's in his load, his left arm is perfectly straight. It's not even on the way down, and his racket is well to the right. And then when he explodes up, he's creating that whip, that lag, and he's going up into the court so he feels free to snap. Most of the best servers in the world, you will see the similar timing. And I will also say, if you watch pros who have poor serves, you will see that they actually start dropping and getting on this side of their body before they push up. And that's definitely something they can work on. So keep this timing in mind, and that will also help you hit faster serves. And the last simple tip that will help you hit faster serves is number one, staying relaxed with your hand. The more tension you have, the slower you'll swing. And we need to swing fast if we want to hit fast. So very light grip pressure, maybe a 5 out of 10. I like to keep my index finger up here a little bit, not with the hammer grip. We want to be nice and relaxed. And when you take a practice swing, where's the fastest part of your swing? It's somewhere out here in front, okay? So I see a lot of people tossing on top of their head here, and that is just going to slow you down and make you hit slower serves. Now, the alternative is you could toss too far in front and you're falling over, and this gets back to the problem we were just talking about. If my toss is too far in front, I'm leaning down and I'm instinctively going to push instead of snapping and pronating, and not only will I be inconsistent, but I also won't be hitting as fast as possible. So based on your height and how much you're actually jumping into your serve, you're going to have to find your own sweet spot, but we know at a minimum, it's got to be in front of you, right? So I'm not going to actually jump today. But you can see my toss is somewhere in front, even without a jump, right? Now I'm able to keep myself up in that motion so I'm not falling down, but my fastest part of my swing is somewhere around here, and I want to make sure I'm tossing to that spot. So you're going to have to find that range. Tossing too far back is probably the way you can be more consistent, but it's also going to hurt your shoulder a little bit and make you swing too slow. But if you start falling into the court, you're going to have the problem with pushing. So practice, find that range for you. Maybe if you're 5'5" and you don't jump much, maybe this would be where we want our ball. Maybe if you're 6'2" like me and you're explosive, maybe it's a little farther out in front. But the farther out in front you can toss it, the looser you can be, the faster you'll be able to hit your serve. So hopefully these 3 tips will help you. Like I said, they helped me a ton. Keep your palm down, work on that pronation, work on the timing of the load, and getting the toss a little farther in front with a relaxed hand. And remember, speed is just one way that you can force a missed return. We have spin, we have location, we have variety, we have mixing it up. So we want to make sure that speed is not the only option, but I know it's a fun one. And if you can hit faster serves, generally speaking, you will force more missed returns.